Welcome to the Biker Protocol Show. I'm Hollywood with Black Patch Las Vegas, and we've got
Picasso, president of the Eagle Riders MC of Sin City. So, yeah.
How you doing, dude?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Cool.
Fist bump. That's not how you do that, though, is it?
Yeah.
And sunglasses, right? Yeah.
Hollywood, Black Patch Las Vegas.
Picasso, president of Eagle Riders MC of Sin City.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. That's how you do it.
So, introductions. How do you introduce yourself? That's one way, I guess.
Yeah. So we see this a lot, especially with new people that, and this is one of the things we teach when we have prospects, because a lot of prospects may not have come from club culture before, so they don't understand what it's like to actually really, truly introduce yourself when you're meeting either a club that you haven't met before. Your club may already know individuals that you're now meeting at an event, or it could be anywhere, gas station, a biker event, their clubhouse at a party, it could be anything. Your club may have a good relationship with another club, but that member might be very new and may not know people. So there's ways that they're supposed to introduce themselves to other clubs, or also it could just be bumping into another club you've never met before as a first-time introduction. So there's protocols for that too. So this is what this video is about. We're going to talk about how to introduce yourself to another club.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
So that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to say hi to someone with your sunglasses on.
Yeah, we've run into this before. We were on a ride once. We're actually coming back from Sturgis, and my VP, we were at a gas station. It was kind of at a juncture. I think it was in Wyoming, and we were coming back from Sturgis to Las Vegas. And so we were at a gas station. There must have been 20 clubs there, just random people gassing up. Some people patched, some people not. Just a lot of bikers just happened to be at this one gas station. So we were walking in to get some water or something, right? So we were walking, our bikes parked. We go walking in. My VP was a few steps ahead of me, and walking out was a member of a 1% club, and they shook hands, and the other guy got pretty offended because my guy was wearing sunglasses. Well, he actually had transition glasses on, and they just hadn't switched to the non-sunglass because he hadn't gone inside. So he just didn't cross his mind yet, right? So and he got called out on it, and was like, "Yep," and he's like, "You're right. I didn't think to take my glasses off." So it's easy to forget these little things. And the reason you take your glasses off is so that way you can look somebody in the eye. That's the protocol on that, right? And that's the history of why you do that.
And we don't want to say. I mean, it is a protocol, but it's also just a respect thing.
Yes.
I mean, I think any person in any walk of life, you don't just go up and say hi with your glasses on. It's just kind of disrespectful because then you're not looking at your eyes. They could be looking off somewhere else while they're saying hi to you, and I don't know. It's like a trust thing too.
Yeah.
Like, how can you trust this person if they won't look me in the eyes?
So, and given on trust, depends on the club. I don't see that too much here in Vegas, but when I've ridden on the East Coast, I see this more. So I don't know if it's a regional thing, but I have seen handshakes even can make a difference.
Yeah.
So watch and see how other clubs, especially if you're greeting another MC, could be a 3-patch MC, a 1% club, see how they do their handshakes, and that's how you want to mirror it. So for example, we can handshake like a regular handshake, right? But sometimes you want to do it like this, and this kind of goes back to the old guard, right?
Yeah.
Where you're looking for weapons. So that's why a lot of these kind of old school MCs will do handshakes like that.
Yeah.
So be prepared for that because you don't know how the other club prefers that.
While you're around the clubs, just kind of if you're able to watch how everything's being, if you're in an event, just watch how they're mingling and how they're introducing themselves, and that way I mean, you have your own way of introducing yourself, but you always want to kind of find a happy medium,
Right.
You don't want to go up to do one of those, like you go to the fist bump, and you're trying to shake my hand.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
that awkward thing, right? Yeah, sure.
So you don't want to look like a doofus, but you also want to be respectful.
Sure.
That's definitely, I wish I had riding gloves too as well,
right.
because that's another thing is you don't want to, you take your gloves off, take your sunglasses off, eyes, shake your hand,
Whenever I get off my bike and I know I'm around other club members, the first thing I do just out of habit before I go up or approach anybody, sometimes I've had too, like I park my bike, I'm in the process of getting off of it, I'm turning the bike off. And so, I'm in the process of getting off of it. So there might be somebody standing there wanting to greet me. And the first thing I do is just as a mental note, I get off the bike, helmet off, sunglasses off, gloves come off. And then I go and I say, hey, good to see you. Or, shake the hand. If it's somebody that I know and it's somebody I have a good relationship with another club, you don't have to do a formal introduction. So don't feel like you have to do that every time, especially if you know somebody from another club. But if you don't know them, yes, then it's proper to do. And the general format is kind of name, rank, serial number, right? So if you're an officer of a club, you announce that. Yeah. So, I'm Picasso, that's my road name. President is my title, and then the club name, Eagle Riders MC of Sin City.
I would say, although And this could be different in different areas. I don't always come across people introducing them as officers either all the time. Unless
that can happen
if it
too, yeah.
says, if they got flash or whatever that says it, then I think more so they're going to introduce themselves that way. But sometimes, people don't want you to know that, hey, that's the president, or
and likewise,
like
I've also run into some more with 1% clubs. They don't care what your road name is.
Yeah.
And I run into that a lot. So be prepared for that if you're talking to a 1% club. And I've had this happen too. There's a club that we have a very good affiliation with here in Vegas, and they're a dominant 1% club. And one of their members is very strict on this. And it's like if you go over and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Picasso with the Eagle Riders," the first thing he's going to say to you is, "What's your real name?"
Okay.
I don't give a damn
before,
about what your road name is. What's your real name?
Yeah.
And he's gone over to prospects. Prospects, sometimes introduce themselves as prospects. Well, sometimes you just want to introduce yourself as your real name.
Yeah. We've had that before with a big club. We had a prospect, and we were introducing him to that said club. And he even said, "No, what's your name?" He says his road name or prospect, or he's like, "No, what's your name?" And he goes, "Oh," and he said his real name.
And the reason we see that a lot is because prospects are usually told when they're a prospect that your name is prospect.
Yeah.
So, if I'm in the clubhouse if I'm in the clubhouse and I'm like, "All right, trash needs a prospect. Get over here. Trash needs to come out." Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're kind of conditioned to follow that. So now they go and meet another club, and they're like, "Hi, I'm prospect with the Eagle Right," and the clubs are like, "I don't care if you're not my prospect.
Yeah.
You're their prospect.
Yeah.
What's your name?" So that's, again, it's understanding context a little bit, right?
Yeah, and in that same club, that gentleman that was being introduced to, he even said everyone's a man before they're in the club. So like, what's your name? I don't need to know you're a prospect.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the same idea. What are some other ways that like you probably shouldn't like? Let's talk about going up to a club. So you just arrived at a party or at a gas station. You see another club there. How do we go about that? How should we say hi to them, or should we say hi to them?
Well, sometimes you don't always need to say hi to every single club at a gas station, right?
Yeah.
But if they're a dominant club, if you know that they're a 1% club, and you should know who your 1% clubs in your community are, it would be best if you see 5 or 6 of them hanging around in a corner somewhere. It's just good protocol to walk up and introduce yourself.
Yeah.
They may not even care who you are, but it's good, protocol. Even if they didn't even know you were there, it's still good protocol. Just go over, shake their hand, just kind of how we did it as an introduction. "Hey, good to see you. I saw you guys hanging out over here. Just want to introduce myself. I'm Picasso, Eagle Riders MC." So
I would add on top of that, though, too, from what I've been learning or what I've been told, not always just approaching a 1% club. You sometimes want to just kind of stay out of earshot, so you're not like spying on conversations until they kind of acknowledge you too.
Correct. Yeah.
From what I know, you're not supposed to necessarily just walk right up to them. And that's the hard part about a lot of the motorcycle world. There's a lot of gray areas of, if you're at an event with 100 people, like maybe it's not such a big deal. But if you're at like the gas station, you don't necessarily, I don't know, I don't feel like you should just necessarily A-line it right over to say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, just wait. I mean, do it, but it doesn't mean that's like your highest priority in that moment.
Or if they like acknowledge you, you can kind of tell when people are like, who's that guy? They're like looking at you, then you might go, "Okay, I should probably go say hi as well."
Right, and if you have officers with you, especially if your sergeant at arms is with you, they should be the first people to be introducing themselves.
Yeah, and actually that's a good note. So who should be the first person you introduce yourself to?
So what I usually do is I have my sergeant at arms do the first introduction, and then I go president to president or whoever the highest ranking is. So if I'm there, I'm the president of my club. I go you can tell right away.
Yeah. So basically,
and don't overthink it. But
correct me if I'm saying this wrong. But basically, you want to go to the highest officer first.
Correct.
So if the president's there, you don't go to the just the regular member or the prospect. And actually, that's a good thing. It kind of goes along with this too as well. Like introducing yourself to prospects. I've heard a lot of different opinions and ideas on that. You don't introduce yourself to prospects. You don't talk to the prospects because they're not your prospect.
Right.
But then some clubs have prospects come up and say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
Or where I've been at a 1% dominant club's event, and there's prospects out front, and they're instantly saying, "Hey, what's up? I'm so and so, whatever." Right. So it's a little mixed bag, gray area there. But generally, and tell me if you don't agree, with prospects, you don't usually go up and say hi to them unless you've gone to everyone else,
right?
Or they've said, "Hey, here's my prospect."
Everything's in context. I've been to parties before where they'll have the prospects checking for like guns,
Yeah,
knives,
yeah.
things like that, right? So if they're working the door, if they're selling tickets, if they're like simply because you're walking up and they're your first point of contact, yes, you should do that.
Yeah.
But they'll introduce themselves as a prospect. So, it's like, hi, shake their hand, move on.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then go and look for, whoever you should be looking for.
And same note as if you are a prospect, and you can see our video here in the description about prospecting. Don't feel bad if people don't introduce themselves to you, because as a prospect, again, going back to what I've been taught, is you're supposed to, if I'm going to your club and you have a prospect, I've been taught that I should ask you, can I say hi to your prospect?
Right.
Can I introduce myself? And same would be, they would say, hey, here's this person, as a prospect. So don't, as a prospect, feel bad, like, hey, no one's talking to me. Well, that's part of it.
Because you're a prospect.
Yeah, because you're going through that test phase of what if you were talking to a person that, you shouldn't be, and whatever, you do something stupid.
Yeah, sure.
But
that's all true.
So, no gloves, no glasses. I mean, what else would there be? It's a pretty straightforward
thing, but just make sure that you do it the right way.
Yeah.
Don't go over and like we were joking in the beginning of this video, don't go over and fist bump people.
Yeah.
Do it with respect, right? Because if you want respect, you have to earn it, right?
Yeah,
so,
and I think I mentioned, or at least I was thinking it, don't rush to jump off your bike and say, they'll wait, to do it the right way, so you don't look like an idiot and you don't say something wrong or do something stupid, forget to take your glasses off.
Right.
It really just comes down to the simple, common idea of respect.
Yeah.
If you're not in a motorcycle club, or not even, you don't even ride a motorcycle, I'm still going to be respectful, take my glasses off, say, hey, what's up?
Right. That's exactly right.
It's pretty simple. It's sad we have to kind of make a video, honestly, in it, but it's something that is a little bit lost.
Well, but that's true. And again, it's just kind of about preserving tradition, but it's also about understanding respect for other people. Yeah. And, these traditions have kind of evolved over the years, but again, this is really just a matter of, and we see this a lot in the comments of these videos of like, I would never join a club because you guys are all rebels, but you all have all these rules.
Yeah.
But it's not really about rules. It's really about just kind of establishing a culture. And so when we do things like this, it's really about that. It's not about making rules.
Yeah.
It's about this is how you treat people with respect. And if we all agree on this, then everybody respects everybody and we don't have problems, right? And so that's kind of why we create these cultural norms like
simple respect goes a long way. If you say you didn't introduce yourself to good example, actually I have a good story here. It's kind of a fun one.
By the way, I'm going to say this real quick. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel. We work really hard on this and we want to be able to bring more videos to you. So I want to hear what your story is. But be sure to click like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us support this video. So yeah.
So I was in a big 1%er clubhouse. Awesome clubhouse, by the way. Like full stripper poles, private rooms, bar. Nice, okay. I mean, it was pretty cool. Really nice. And my friend who was friends with them introduced me and got me in, so it wasn't just I walked into this clubhouse. I was introduced to one of the members and he took me around and showed me around there. And every person I saw, I'm like, hey, Hollywood Black Patch, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I swear there had to have been at least 20 or 30 people of just that club in that clubhouse. There was a lot. Very intimidating. It can be. And I shook hands with everyone as he showed me around the different spots. So I've come full circle through the whole, it was a big area. I mean, honestly, really cool clubhouse. And come back, and I'm like, he's all right, grab a drink, whatever, hang out. So I grab a drink, and I'm sitting down. And you know how you can feel when someone's staring at you?
Yeah, right.
I'm like, I could feel it. Like, it was seriously burning me. And I look over, I'm like, I don't know.
One guy you forgot to shake his hand?
No.
Oh, is that what it was?
And
really?
I don't know if he just come in or not. And he was a young guy. I'm not going to say anything negative, but he wanted to flex his muscle a little. So the guy that I was being shown around, that I was introduced to, he comes up and he goes, hey, you got to say hi to everyone. I was like, oh, did I miss someone? Because I honestly swear I had shaken hands with everyone. So he takes me over to the guy, and he goes, you're supposed to introduce yourself to everyone when you go into their house. And I was like, all right. So I introduced myself, and he's like, all right, thank you. And it was just kind of like a situational thing too. Like if you're at just a party or an event, that might not be the case. But if you're in someone else's clubhouse, it's even more important to try to make the rounds.
We call it walking the line. So we
come in, babies, shaking hands.
Right. Yeah. So we call it walking the line, where we go into a clubhouse and they'll have 10 members standing at the door and they're all in a line. Yep. It's kind of funny, right?
Yeah,
but there's like 7 of us and there's 10 of them and we all have to kind of walk. I feel like it's like we're paying tribute at a wedding or something, right? But it's part of protocol. It's part of just being part of that tradition. Yeah. And this is what you do. It's just what you do. So, we walk the line, we shake everybody's hand, same thing over and over and over again, Picasso, Eagle Riders MC Sin City, Picasso, President Eagle Rider, just walk, but that's okay.
It becomes a dialogue.
Right.
And going back to mine, what I was getting at was, I just apologized, respect, and introduced myself properly.
Exactly right, yeah.
And then, water on the bridge. That's all needs
and
to
it's
be
all
done.
done, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So just respect. That's the main thing. And those key things, glasses, gloves, whatever.
Yeah, just simple things.
Lastly, what about leaving an event?
Yeah.
How do you say
so kind
bye?
of I don't necessarily feel like I have to shake everybody's hand when I leave.
Exactly,
However, I do find if there's a president there, a sergeant at arms there, my rule of thumb is find 2 officers.
Yeah.
So 2 officers, and then anybody else as you're leaving that you recognize on your way out, shake their hands too. Just say, hey, thanks for a great event. Appreciate everything you're doing. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my rule of thumb is 2 officers and then anybody else.
I would say the same thing. Like if you're at someone's clubhouse, just go find an officer of the clubhouse and say, hey, thanks for the invite. We're taking off,
Yeah.
What do they say that it's called the Irish goodbye? I think is where you just peace out and not tell anyone.
Oh,
you
really?
Just sneak out in the shadows.
Oh, just like bye.
And just hope people don't notice. Don't do that.
I don't like doing that. Yeah, that's not my thing. I like to say goodbye to people.
Yeah, so pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Shake hands, eye contact, no glasses, be respectful.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks again for watching our video. Be sure to like and subscribe again, and it just helps us support this channel. And we'll see you next week with our next video. Yeah. Peace out.
All right. One last.
We got to do our shot. Sorry.
I'm starting to get on top.
So we're talking about traditions, and we're not doing our own tradition. All right. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.
Yeah.